Okay. No. Shh. Kevin said earlier, thanks very much for everybody for turning out for this incredible walk that has been taking place for the last few days. Some people have been with us for the last 2 days, and some people are going to stay on for 2 more days. We have a little talk at the start of every day, so today I'm going to keep you for 5 minutes, just to welcome you here to Ardfinnan. Ardfinnan, which means the height of Finnan. Saint Finnan, who founded a monastery here in the 7th century, up directly behind King John's castle. I was talking about the gravel spit, the terminal moraine there sort of from the last glaciation, which gave us our natural landscape. And the reason that Ardfinnan is here today is because we have this beautiful natural landscape. We have the river that stopped at the end of sort of the terminal moraine. When it was first inhabited, this area, we don't know exactly when. What we have in this particular landscape, it's very much an early Christian and an Anglo-Norman landscape. The tombs that you would get more in the west of Ireland and the north of Ireland, sort of from the Neolithic, the Mesolithic and the Bronze Age, we don't really have an abundance of these. One of the reasons possibly is that the land was too fertile, and a lot of these things might have just been a big boulder or a standing stone in a field. And with developments and the removal of forests and the removal of hedgerows and things like that, these type of things might have been sort of moved aside. So what we're left with in this area are castles and abbeys and churches and tower houses. This is the type of landscape that we have. Here we have sort of on that gravel spit that I pointed out earlier, we have sort of a ring fort that would be dated to about sort of 1500 years ago. We have the Anglo-Norman castle that will be about 800 years old. We'll be passing by on Ladies Abbey, a little monastery that was built maybe sort of 600 years ago. It's sort of, you're talking about sort of thousands of years of history. St. Declan and St. Declan's walk that we are on. St. Declan is very much sort of noted as soon as we cross over the border to Waterford. St. Patrick, his challenger to the title, was more familiar on this side. And the walk that we've done and the walk that we're doing today would be known locally as Anrian Bow Foric, St. Patrick's Way. And I hope you get a sense that when we leave Ardfinnan and we're heading down past Ladies Abbey, that you'll get a sense of this sort of this timelessness, sort of this very ancient track. It is part of the absolute definitive sort of track that travellers and St. Declan and all other pilgrims would have walked along. The town, or the village of Ardfinnan, as I said, is on the shore. We have these settlement beaches, we have sort of the natural beauty of the river. And I suppose I should have put myself sort of in context slightly, that I have a degree in geography and archaeology. I'm doing a couple of masters at present for my sins because I just can't seem to finish anything. And one happens to be in community and voluntary sector management. But what I'm passionate about is the changing landscape. And I'm studying the field names. That when hedgerows have been removed, while you lose sort of the ecological content, you also lose sort of the cultural content, that the field there and the field there that was divided by the hedgerow, you lose that. Over towards Newcastle, where I was studying, all the field names were in Irish. It was a Brack Gaeltacht. The Gaeltacht area from Ring in Dungarvan extended as far as the little metal bridge that you'll be crossing over today. And there's very much a divide when you see it, so you start tracking the field names. Very much Irish, a mixture of English and Irish, and the further away you go from the Gaeltacht, the more English the names become. We're going to go up the hill and we're going to travel down, and the first little building that I'll point out very briefly on the right hand side, a very ordinary little limestone building, was a fever hospital that operated during the famine. It closed in around sort of 1840, which is very unusual because it was just getting into the worst part of the famine, and sort of the clients, the poor, paupers, the individuals that were stationed there, they were all transferred to Tincurry, which is slightly more desolate up in the altitude. The next little building that you'll hardly even notice there inside in the ditch is a small little lime kiln. There used to be thousands of these lime kilns because the soil in Ireland is very much acid, and it needs something to neutralise the acidity of the soil. If we didn't have lime, you couldn't have agriculture. But when we became sort of to the stage that we were able to produce fertiliser in bags, these little sort of small stone kilns fell out of use, and they were just sort of abandoned and sort of fell down and bulldozed to make way for modern agriculture. The last about sort of 100 yards from that, you'll see Ladies Abbey. It's a Carmelite monastery, tiny little one, sort of set in the most beautiful location, looking out sort of towards the Knockmill Downs. And you can just sort of imagine that space there, sort of that St. Declan wouldn't have seen it, but because it was on a major sort of thoroughfare from here over the mountains, that sort of, it would have been a vibrant place. People would have been living there. Then we'll stop very briefly at a little metal bridge crossing over the River Tar, and then I think at Ladies Abbey, Kevin, I think what we're going to do is the turtles are going to take off, and the tortoises are going to amble on a little bit slower than that. So we're all staying together once we get to Ladies Abbey, and then the strollers will walk on, cross over the Tar, and then we'll ascend the Styra. And for anybody who's not familiar with Irish, Styra means stairs. And when you see stairs written on a mountain, you say, we'll take it nice and handy, nice and slow, and our motto is nobody left behind. Okay, so if anybody has any questions for me throughout the day, just ask me. I have an interest in kind of everything. And one of the things that Knockmill Down Active did and sponsored was that we attempted to record all the headstones of all the historic graves in the area along the Knockmill Downs. There's 12 historic graveyards, and we have about 7 completed now. So that we photograph, we record every detail, and we put it online on historic graves. There's a number of different developments happening in the place there. The local gun club has developed an incredible walk, a complex of 8 ponds. There's a grouse conservation project on the mountain that we're travelling over today. Now, I know a little about an awful lot. There are people here that obviously know an awful lot more than I do on different aspects of history or botany or flora and fauna. So at any stage, anybody wants to share their information with us, please do. It makes the journey exciting. So just before we head off, could I just ask Deputy Matthew McGrath just to wish us a safe